Marketing has a large budget that they spend to be able to build awareness for your brand so that people know what problems you solve. The problem that you'll see within a business with operations is that they don't set up this system right in front of us, a lead nurturing system. So they're spending all this money on Google ads and LinkedIn ads and Instagram ads and you name it, whatever ad that you guys run. There's somebody spending all this marketing dollars to do that so they can build brand awareness. And then somebody exchanges their email in order to get like an ebook download or to see something or to go to a webinar. They give you their email in exchange so that you can market to them. The problem then is that if you don't have this lead nurturing program, there's nothing that's going to happen. It's not like the person is dying for you to reach out to them. I mean, sometimes they are, very, very rarely, but in most cases, they're not dying for them to have someone contact them and sell them and tell them why this product or service is good. So if you're not actively building some type of lead nurturing program in your business, the chances of you converting those people that you just spent a bunch of money on to get their email from absolutely does nothing. So you want to have this system set up. We talk about this a lot in my other videos too for specifics, like what type of lead nurturing you should do in certain given situations. Someone's interested in a competitor. What kind of lead nurturing do we need to do? Someone's a cold lead. What kind of lead nurturing do we need to do? If they're a new lead, what kind of lead nurturing do we need to do? So there's going to be differences for each scenario, right? You probably want to send out different emails for each scenario that they're in. This video in particular is going to show you a very foundational setup of how lead nurturing works. So this should be tailored to each scenario. You might have several of these. You probably will as you continue to grow. Most businesses do. This is something you could start with if you have nothing right now. This is something to get you up and running and at least starting to warm up those leads that gave you their email. So over here, what we have is this is going to show us how to warm up new leads with a few simple emails so people trust your business, say yes, and buy from you. That's really what we want them to do. In return, you get more money. You close more deals. You get more revenue into the business to be able to further you guys along. So this is what we want to set up, okay? So in this situation, it's going to be really basic, really easy to understand. So we first have this starting off when a new lead comes in, okay? So if you have no lead nurturing at all, or you want to revise the one you have and you want some tips on how other people set this up, this is what it should look like. You get a brand new lead. So somebody goes to like a webinar, like I said, they click on one of your ads, they fill out a form, they download a piece of content that you have out there for a lead magnet. They do something like that. They then will give you their first name, their last name, their email, sometimes their phone number and other information in exchange for that thing that they want to view or that thing that they want to download. That's when you get this new lead. That new lead will come in and we want to then start sending out some emails to get them to build trust with our product or service to show them that, hey, this thing that you are interested in should actually help you in your personal life, should help you in your business, whatever it is that you sell or service that you offer. So email number one. What I should say before we even go any further is I have 3 emails here as an example, okay? You could do 20 emails. You could do 2 emails. There's no limit on how many you can do. You can set this up however you would like. I have 3 for an example to give you some kind of basics around this, but think through your business, think through how long your sales cycle is, and what it is that you likely have to talk about before somebody says yes. Okay, so you're thinking through value points that you need to add or common questions people have, and that's usually a good indicator of how many emails you think you should send out for your business, okay? So don't pay attention to the fact that I only have 3. That's just an example. You could set up way more than 3 or less than 3, I guess, if you really wanted. The very first one, though, when we send out this first email, this should really be about understanding their pain. Some people will take the approach of like a welcome email, a little bit of an introduction about us. There's nothing wrong with that. You still can include that if you would like, but really you want to kind of hit them hard on the first email to just say, you signed up for this, you're interested in this product or service. We're trying to show you that right away we relate to the pain points you're going through. So for my business, since we help out with Salesforce, right? What we would want to send is something like the following 2 examples. So most companies use Salesforce poorly. Maybe we use that as our talking point and we're educating. We're telling them why this is a crappy situation. We understand that you're going through this situation where your Salesforce is likely not set up the way you want to. and it's a hassle, it's a pain, it's something you don't want to have to deal with for much longer, right? We're showing them we understand that that's the position they're in. Another example could be we just send them 2 or 3 examples of common Salesforce problems that people go through, hoping that we're hitting at least 1 or 2 of those that they're likely going through. Again, we're trying to speak the same language as them so that they feel that they can trust us, and we build relatability that these people get me, they likely can solve the problems that I have. After we do that, we want to make a decision here within the lead nurturing. So when you set up this automation in Salesforce, the second part you'll want to do is decide how long you want to wait until you send another one. Typically, there's 2 things that you'll do. You'll pay attention if people click on that email and open it. And the other one is if they don't click, how long do you want to wait until you send them another email? What I say is on the first one, I usually like to have this be a little bit less time. So somebody just became interested. That means they had a pain point or there was some type of thing that they related to you on that made this relevant for them to want to give you their email in the first place. So we want to kind of take advantage of that in the beginning and start to send them emails to warm this up while it's still hot, right? If we send them one email and they don't check it, and then 2 weeks later we try to hit them again, chances are high they either found another solution, they're no longer interested in buying anything, or they're just confused why you would send them something because they no longer remember what it is that they signed up for. So you want it to stay relevant. You want it to hit the right timing for these people. So I always like to do a day or less, right, to send this out. Typically a day is what I see most in businesses, but you could do this longer if you really wanted to. So we'll wait, let's say a day if they don't click, and then we're going to send them number 2. So number 2 in my example, this is where I would then start to show my expertise. So in the Salesforce world, again, I'm going to maybe talk to specific problems I know that they have and tell them how I can solve those things. So some examples might be how we can auto assign leads to your sales reps. There's an automation you can build in Salesforce to do that. We know how. This is why it's going to save you time and money. This is why it's going to make it better for your business. And we tell them how they can do that. We just give it away for free. The other one might be like auto creating tasks or follow-up items for sales reps. Another one could be required fields for better reporting, right? So here's specific fields we know you have to fill out so that you get the data that you need to be able to make decisions in your business. Here's how you would set that up in Salesforce so that you always get this information that you're wanting to have in Salesforce. The point here is you show your expertise. You tell them how to do something and you show them that you know what you're talking about. Again, it's building trust, shows them that you aren't just some random person out there that's hoping to get some business. You actually know what you're talking about. We're going to do the same decision next, which is, did they click on that? Did they engage with us? Or do we need to wait another certain period of time? Again, if this is only my second email, I'm still probably likely to send this fairly quick and not wait longer, probably a day, maybe 2 days at this point, but I still want to send this relatively quickly. Again, it might be different for your business, but typically this is what we see is you still want to do this fairly quickly. If you get a couple emails in a couple days from a new person you signed up with, it's typically in my situation when I get it from other people, I don't find that annoying. I don't feel that spammy. Again, they're trying to take advantage of like, hey, you just signed up for this service or product a couple days ago. We're here. We're trying to get you interested in what we talk about or what we do to see if you're a good fit. So send this fairly quick after the first one, I would say again, and then we are going to go down in our example to the last and final email. You can definitely have more than these, but in this situation, what we would want to do is show them some kind of ROI or value. So we solved a problem in front of them in the last email. This one in particular, let me move myself so that you can see. This one, we're going to talk about how we know this is going to help their business. So again, Salesforce Consulting, typically to get buy-in for a contract or somebody to start up with us, we can tell them technically how to do stuff all day long. But when it goes up to the CEO or the C-suite, they got to understand why this is going to make them more money. Why is it going to help my business? That's really all they care about. So at this point, we want to provide that value to them. So a couple examples of a business impact. Hey, here's how we made people more money. Here's how we had people save a bunch more time. Here's how their sales reps got more efficient and closed more deals. Here's how their customer support had better interactions with your current customers so they didn't churn, something like that. You could also have in here mention of clients that you saved money with. Not usually recommended unless you have like a really big name in there. There are some like things that you might want to go through as far as protocols or red tape there with current clients. It's okay to use their name in marketing stuff. But if it is okay and you have a big name or a name that would be relevant within your industry, that's a good authority grabber too, to be like, hey, we helped Amazon, or we helped Shopify, or we helped Coca-Cola. That would be a really good example to put in there. Another example towards the bottom, the third one I have is show small improvements, create huge gains. So in Salesforce, it's typically, we do these smaller things, but they all add up at the end of the year. So I'm trying to usually show the CEO or the C-suite people that, hey, just by assigning these leads out to sales reps, it might not feel like a big deal today, but if we just do that for an entire year, that's going to save us whatever, 100 hours a year, which is, if we add up and do the math, how much you pay those sales reps, maybe that's 100 grand a year, right? Like maybe we're saving you guys 100 grand a year by putting this one automation into place. So we're trying to show them, again, the value of doing this service that we offer. In your case, you should do the same with your product or service. Lastly, you are going to do the same decision. You're going to check to see if they clicked or if they have not. If they have clicked, what this will eventually end up doing is sending them over here to update that lead in Salesforce to say it's engaged, whatever status you have that would reflect that. So it might say engaged, it might say it's hot, it might say you've interacted with them, it might say contacted, just something that would be a status to say this person's interested, they interacted with us. And then from there, we want to create some follow-up tasks for the sales rep so that they automatically are told what to do. You want to do this for two reasons. There's one reason where when you hire new people, you don't want them going around asking a bunch of other sales reps what they're supposed to do. You want to create a one consistent workflow for every single person that you hire. So there's less key man risk, is what they call it in business. If they have to rely on one person being there at the business, causes a problem for you when you try to sell your business. It also makes it way less efficient, gives people a streaky type of experience depending on who they work with. So you want to create a standard way of operating or a standard procedure that you would have for each process. Creating these follow-up tasks will help you do that, because you're going to have to define what are the things we need our sales rep to do if they do engage with us. And then we'll create those checklists automatically for the sales rep on that lead, so they can just check the boxes and go down the list of what it is that they have to do next. That might be sending out an email, that might be calling them, that might be getting your sales manager involved. There might be some options like that. So this is really helpful to keep things consistent. All right, if they don't click, you also don't want to just throw this away. So there's this other option over here where we're going to temporarily update this to say uninterested or not interested or close lost, some type of status that would say we've sent them X amount of emails, they didn't respond to any of them, it's likely not going to happen right now. So we update the status to that so nobody contacts them. And then what I've seen that I took from a couple companies is they've done this thing where they put it into what they call storage. So you basically are putting this lead in like what they call storage, or like on ice for X amount of days. I can't talk, sorry. X amount of days or a certain period of time, so that you can then reach out to them later. So in the example I've seen for one of our clients that we work with, they put them in a storage for 3 months. And then after 3 months have taken place, they will take them out of storage and start going back through another lead nurturing sequence. And they'll do this maybe 2 or 3, 4 times before, if they don't respond to, at this point, 20 plus emails, they can safely say, all right, they're not interested. We can basically just keep these guys in our system, but we've tried to reach out 20 plus times and they've never interacted with us over the space of whatever, a year, 2 years. If you don't like that idea and you always want to interact, you definitely can. That's just what they do. But the point would just be to chill out on making them feel like you're trying to spam them. We take a break for a period of time, but we paid a lot of money to get that person's email. And at one point, they were somewhat interested in our product or service because they signed up for the newsletter, they gave us their email, they downloaded something, they called us, they did something to where we got their info. So at one point they were interested, and you'll have other people that are a lot more hardcore about this, where it's like, I'm going to follow up with this person until they specifically tell me not to, or I find out that this person's no longer living. So if you are more on that hardcore side and you want to do it that way, you definitely can. What you'll do is you'll just kind of space this out. So you're not just constantly blasting them with emails to potentially ruin your, what do they call it? It's like your domain, like your reputation on your email, because people can report you as spam and then that puts your domain at risk. So this also alleviates that from happening by icing it for a little bit and making them feel like you're not just spamming them all the time. So that's a great way to end this. Is what I would do from here is once it goes into storage for X amount of time, whatever you feel is appropriate. Like I said, one of our clients is like 3 months. I've seen people do it as a month, and I've seen people do it as low as like 2 weeks. So it just depends on what you're trying to do, but you just take a break for a little bit of time and then you push them back through another lead nurturing sequence, kind of like this one. So that's it. That's really what you should have here. And like I called out at the beginning, if you're interested in having specific ones for different scenarios, like if they're interested in a competitor, how do we nurture them? If they have they have X pain point, what should we tell them to do? If they were interested, we got all the way to the end, we sent them a proposal and then they said no. How do we nurture those kind of people? Because they got much further than us. How do we like warm them back up? So you should be building these out for those different scenarios, but this is a great foundational way to look at it and think through it. If you don't have any of these installed, or you would like something like this installed, there is a link in the description of this video, and it will send you over to see if we're a good fit for you guys. If we are a good fit, our team would love to come in and help implement this for you and figure out which ones you would like. So if that seems interesting, look forward to talking with you guys later. Appreciate it.